Yo, what is up, my friends? It's your boy Steve from Straight Fire Picks. We're back with your best bets for NFL Week 8 Sunday on Sunday, October 25th, 2025. We got your NFL player props, spreads, totals, predictions, parlays, as always. 6 picks in the video. Let's lock in and get this sweep here in the NFL.
Well, my presence isn't real. It's another bad one like this is scale. It's straight fire. All my bets straight from. You're in the house that cab made now. Straight fire.
As always, my friends, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for me. Always appreciate that. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of your guys' support as always. Let's lock in and have a great NFL Week 8, particularly here on Sunday. We got to do a recap from Thursday. It did not go well for us on Thursday, guys. We went 0-3, minus 3.25 units, as we put 0.15 units on for the Sweep Parlay, and also a tenth of a unit as a long shot parlay. So that's how we ended up at minus 3.25. But we missed on Jordan Addison to get 50 receiving yards. He finishes with 26. Keenan Allen to get 50 receiving yards. He finishes with 44. And then obviously the Vikings plus 3.5. They were absolute dog water on Thursday night. So bad spread pick there for me. I got to do better with that, guys. But we will. Sunday, we're going to lock in. We had a great NFL Sunday last week. We're going to lock in and do that once again here. We got a couple huge parlays for you guys where you can make lots of money. And it's going to be a great week here in the NFL. So let's get after it. Don't forget to drop your favorite pick down below in the comment section. Put a star or an asterisk next to your pick, and we'll include your pick in our comment capper section. From Thursday, we had a couple call-outs in the chat that hit. Let's see what we got here. I got to pull this up real quick here. We had Demetrius Smith calling the Justin Herbert to get 2 passing touchdowns and the Chargers money line. That cashes. And Anthony Thornhill called Carson Wentz to get an interception. A lot of you guys knew the writing was on the wall with the Chargers. Well played. I have to take I don't know what it is. I have to, say, hey, I was just wrong on Thursday night about the Vikings. They were horrible. So, it is what it is, though. Like I said, new week, new day here today, and we're going to lock in and have a great Week 8 still here in the NFL. So, let's get ready to get after it. A couple quick things. We have a couple videos already live for the NFL spreads and totals video, where we go over the spread and total for every single game. For week 8, make sure you guys check that out. And then we'll have our Sunday night football video coming out later on Saturday night as well. So make sure you guys look for that. Outside of that, just make sure you guys check down below the pinned comment and description for any links you guys are looking for here around the channel in regards to membership, merchandise, and social media links. That's all down below in the pinned comment description. Without further ado, let's get after it, get the sweep. Let's get right into our picks here at number 1. We're going to start it off with the Cleveland Browns. Plus 7 on the spread here versus the New England Patriots. We're going minus 110 odds on MGM. So this is going to be the best defense that Drake May has played all season, without a doubt. And I think this is going to be a big test for him. I'm not saying he's going to do particularly bad. I'm just saying I think this is going to be a gritty game, a grinded out game. And I think the Browns defense will show up. I think you'll see a little bit more progression here with Dylan Gabriel, right? He looked solid last week. He wasn't asked to do a lot. But obviously, he's still getting his feet wet here in the NFL. And he played very, solid last week. Like I said, he threw for just over 100 yards. He was like 13 of 18 throwing the ball. So obviously, I think he'll keep getting a little bit more comfortable. And hopefully just avoid the turnovers. That's really the biggest thing when you have a defense like this, because they have a great running game in Quinshon Judkins and a great defense. And usually those are things that can keep games close. And particularly versus a New England team that were what we call selling high here on the Patriots, right? Patriots getting a lot of respect with the -7 spread here at home versus a decent Browns team. This isn't like the worst team in the NFL, guys. They have a good defense. They have a good running game. Like I said, that's normally a formula for keeping games close. And I think it'll be close. I don't think the Patriots are warranted of being this big of favorites yet. I'm all about Drake May. I think he's great. Vrabel's obviously doing a great job with the Patriots. So far, he should be Coach of the Year candidate up there in Foxborough, doing a phenomenal job. But like I said, I don't think they're worthy of this type of respect quite yet. Their defense still has a little ways to go. Drake May is still young. The running game is kind of still obviously lacking some punch there in the run game. So I think this is a Patriots team that from time to time could be inconsistent, and I'm looking for that to be the case. We've bet on the Patriots before as big plus underdogs. I'm all about that. But when it comes to them being a big favorite versus a decent team, I just don't see it, guys. I think the Browns are going to show up. They're going to run the ball. They're going to play good defense. I think Dylan Gabriel can avoid the turnovers. He's a pretty smart player. And like I said, he managed the game last week, and that's really what I'm looking for him to do here. So, love it there, guys, for number 1 pick. We're going with the Cleveland Browns, +7 on the spread here versus New England Patriots, -110 odds here on MGM. Okay, to number 2, we got the over 46.5 points in the Bills-Panthers game. We're going -108 odds here on DraftKings. So, guys, 4 of the last 6 Panther games have gone over, including the last couple home games here versus the Dolphins and Cowboys. So, I think in Carolina, we're going to see some points. The Bills are coming out of the bye week. I think their offense is going to be sharp with Josh Allen and this passing attack. They should get Kincaid back. So I think the Bills are going to put up a ton of points. It's a matter of how many is Carolina going to score. And I think they're going to be able to score some. This Bills defense is bad. That was the takeaway I've gotten from the first half of the season so far for the Bills. Their defense has been horrible. Looks like a high school football team out there. The run defense has been bad. The pass defense hasn't been great. They're 25th in yards per play allowed. This is one of the worst defensive performances for the Bills over the last 5 years under McDermott. So I don't think it's going to all be able to be fixed, out of that bye week. I think they're still going to struggle a bit here defensively. The Panthers can really run the football with Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. You're also looking at a different quarterback here in Andy Dalton. And I'm curious to see how this goes. I have a feeling Dalton's going to dial it in a little bit here. I think Dalton has a little bit more potential in the passing game than Bryce Young does for the Panthers. Bryce Young has managed games of this season, but obviously his from the pocket passing just hasn't been there. Dalton might be able to exploit some weaknesses in this Bills defense. I don't know if he's quite to the level of a Joe Flacco, but Andy Dalton, once upon a time, the Red Rocket guys, I think he's still got something left in that arm. And he could potentially beat a bad Bills defense. In all 6 games that Andy Dalton started last year for the Panthers, all 6 of those Panther games had 46-plus points in them. One of them landed at 46. All the rest were over 46. So, that being said, the games were higher scoring. I think we could see that again. The Panthers' defense isn't particularly great. They're certainly capable of being beat as well. So, I think here, like I said, I think you'll see a lot of points in this one. Love the over, guys. Love it there for a number 2 pick. We're going with the over 46.5 points in the Bills-Panthers game. We got -108 odds here on DraftKings. Okay, to number 3, we're going with a system play, guys. We've been playing this the last couple of weeks, and we're going to run it again here. We're running Christian McCaffrey over 43.5 receiving yards here for the San Francisco 49ers. We got -114 odds here on FanDuel. So this is one where this isn't about the matchup at all. The matchup means nothing, right, to me. Playing against the Texans, one of the best defenses in the league. They're first in receiving yards allowed to running backs, one of the best defenses in football. I don't care. CMC is simply targeted too much for this line to not be a thing. And sometimes you just got to realize that. Be like, you know what? 43.5 that's too low for this guy. He's been cashing all season. He's 7 for 7 to this line with a 73.7 yard per game average. We've cashed with him here the last 2 weeks at the channel. I wish we had just started in week 1. I didn't realize this dude was going to be averaging 9.7 targets per game, which is what he's averaging this season. Mac Jones looks for him all the time, and I think there's no reason for that really to change. Christian McCaffrey is not a typical running back. I don't think I need to tell you all that. They could split him out at wide receiver. They could literally do anything with him. He's basically a wide receiver, too. And he's, like I said, if you're averaging 10 targets a game with a 40-yard receiving line, you got to take those receiving yards. You just have to. We talked about it last week. He was up against the Falcons, who at the time were number 1 versus running backs and receiving yards allowed to running backs. It didn't matter. He went for 70+. I think you could see that once again. It might be a little bit tighter just because the Texans are a decent defense. But we're going to have a lot of opportunity to cash this bet, and I really like the prospects of once again getting the cash here on McCaffrey. So, do love it there, guys, for our number 3 pick. We're going Christian McCaffrey over 43.5 receiving yards here for the San Francisco 49ers. -114 odds on FanDuel risking unit there. For our number 4 pick, we're going with another guy that's got a 100% hit rate this season. We got Alec Pierce over 35.5 receiving yards here for the Indianapolis Colts. We got minus 105 odds here on Fanatics. Pierce is quickly turning into one of Danny Jones's favorite targets. He's coming off a 10-target game last week where he put up 98 yards. Obviously played fantastic, so they're going to still try to get this guy the ball regardless of Downs coming back into the lineup, which he's coming back into the lineup this week. But even still, with Josh Downs in the lineup, Alec Pierce is still 4 for 4 to this line with Josh Downs in the lineup. That's why you're getting a lower line here on Pierce. He's still averaging 54.8 yards per game with Josh Downs in the lineup. So this line is simply set too low once again. Pierce 5 for 5 this season. 63.4 receiving yards per game average. You really can't do it much better than that. This could literally just be one deep ball. This guy's been one of the better deep ball receivers in the league this year. That's really all you need here. The last time he played the Titans, he put up 67 yards. He just about doubled this line. We don't need all that much here. And he's been consistent all season. Alec Pierce has showed up and cashed in every game he's played. So I love seeing that. He's in a great matchup. The Titans are 24th in yards allowed to wide receivers. So that's obviously fantastic here for Pierce. Props.cash has a projection for him of 41.7. So they got him going over by about 7 to 8 yards. And I very much agree with that. In fact, I think he's got potential, obviously. Like I said, this is a guy you could take for a ladder, up to like 70 yards. I'd feel pretty comfortable taking him up to 70 for some value, if you guys wanted to. For sure up to 60, 70 if you want to stretch for some more value on him. I just think, this could be a layup, guys. I think this one's going to be a layup. I hope it's a layup. That's all I'm saying. So, love it there, guys. For number 4 pick, we got Alec Pierce over 35.5 receiving yards here for the Indianapolis Colts. Minus 105 odds here on Fanatics. Okay, and at number 5, we got J.K. Dobbins over 65.5 rushing yards here for the Denver Broncos. We're going minus 135 odds here on Fanatics. Keep in mind, I like this line up to 70.5, 71.5. I love it up there too. You could get this on Fanatics right now though at 65.5, which I like taking a little safer line here, just because we're going to have him here in the parlay as well. Dobbins is over in 5 of 6 games so far this season, up against the Cowboys defense that I don't have to tell you guys has absolutely been horrendous this season. So obviously I think there's a good chance that could continue. They've had a lot of struggles defensively, particularly out on the road. They've allowed the 5th most rushing yards on the road this season. So particularly Rico Dowdle comes to mind in Carolina, where he put up 183 versus his Cowboys front. You're not going to see that, but I definitely think Dobbins will be sniffing 100 yards. He'll be, he was the first Broncos back to get 100 yards in a long time earlier this season. And I think he could sniff 100 here versus the Cowboys. I really do. At the very least, he should be in the mid-70s here. He's going to get, roughly 15 to 16 carries, and I think that would be good enough to get this done here. Like I said, very reasonable line at 65.5. He's 2 of 3 so far at home with an 81.7 yards per game average. So you like seeing that. Like I said, Cowboys allowing the 5th most rushing yards on the road, so you got to like that. Also like the game script. Broncos are 3.5-point favorites. This line has been moving in favor of the Broncos. I believe it opened at either 2.5 or 3. So that 3 to 3.5 is a critical point. So it kind of shows you where the public's thinking. They're thinking the Broncos are going to have their way here versus the Cowboys. If that's the case, they're going to lean on the run here in the second half and look to close this game out versus Dak and company. So I think Dobbins is the guy to do that. Love his spot for Dobbins. Love it there for number 5 pick. You got J.K. Dobbins over 65.5 rushing yards here for the Denver Broncos. Minus 135 odds on Fanatics. Okay, and finally at number 6, we got Jalen Hurts over 195.5 passing yards here for the Philadelphia Eagles. Minus 120 odds on Fanatics. This line is wildly low. I know A.J. Brown's out. I'm aware, guys. I checked the injury report. I know A.J. Brown's sitting this one out. I know it's going to be Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert having to carry the load here for the Eagles. That's fine. I think they'll do a fantastic job. At the end of the day, Jalen Hurts is over in 4 of his last 5 games, including 3 of his last 3, averaging 296 passing yards per game over his last 3 games. A.J. Brown has been a guy, arguably, that has been a little bit of a detriment to the passing game just because you feel like you got to throw him the football, right? This guy whines and complains a lot on social media. That's been a thing this season. So what if you remove that variable? Maybe Hurts plays a little bit more loose because he doesn't have to please somebody. He's just playing football. which I think is great for Jalen Hurts. Maybe not so much for A.J. Brown, but for Hurts, this could actually help loosen him up a little bit here. Whether it does or doesn't. This line is still too low, regardless of any of that. This is a spot you're up against a pretty bad Giants secondary that hasn't played well this season. They ranked 28th versus the pass, and yards allowed to quarterbacks. We've already seen him go over pretty easily there versus the Giants in the game in New York. And this line, to me, is just set a little too low. I think if this was up near like 230, I wouldn't touch it. But at 195, I'm like, man, this guy just get 200 passing yards. With Devontae Smith and Goddard still there, and I think Hurts could get that done. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if the loss of Brown actually kind of helps him out. They played great with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith last week. I mean, Hurts went off last week, and this offense looked fantastic. So that's the other thing you're getting here. You're getting a momentum play where Hurts is coming off his best game of the season, and they're up against another pretty bad pass defense. We saw that on display in the fourth quarter versus Denver. Bo Nix got whatever he wanted versus the secondary in the fourth quarter. So I think that could translate. This defense has got to feel a little deflated after that game in Denver too. So I think this is going to be a tough spot for the Giants. I think the Eagles might trounce them here, honestly. So with all that being said, I like Devontae Smith's receiving line too. It's about 70 yards. I do like that for this game as well. I think he's going to go off versus this Giants team. And I think the Eagles are going to roll. I think Hurts is going to roll. And I think we'll hit this passing over. So, love it there, guys. For number 6 pick, we got Jalen Hurts over 195.5 passing yards. Here for the Philadelphia Eagles, minus 120 odds on Fanatics. Our for the Sweep Parlay, of course, plus 48.69 odds on Fanatics with our profit boost. Keep in mind, we're risking a tenth of a unit. Keep in mind, the only difference in this parlay from the picks you guys just saw is Christian McCaffrey. On FanDuel, you can get his line at 43.5, which is where I would take it if you can. In the parlay, though, it's going to be 45.5 because other books have this at, Fanatics has it at 45.5, DraftKings has it at 47.5. So always take your best lines where you can take them now. In regards to the parlay, we kind of got to just take it here if we're going to post a parlay, though. So, but that's really should be the only difference. Everything else should be the same. And obviously, we should be able to lock in that. And then our anytime touchdown parlay, plus 21.40 odds on Fanatics with our profit boost there as well. They threw out a lot of boosts. Risking a quarter of a unit, 3 guys to get a touchdown. We just talked about Devontae Smith. I think obviously his target share is going to be crazy. They're going to look for him in the red zone. I think Devontae Smith has a great chance here to score. No A.J. Brown. Giants 20th defense versus position. Touchdowns allowed to receivers. Khalil Shakir, anytime touchdown. This one's a little bit weird. There's not really a lot of things to support this other than the Bills are coming out on the bye, and he's Josh Allen's trusted target. I think they get back on track here offensively, and I think Shakir is a big guy in this offense that needs to start getting it going. I think he finds the end zone versus Carolina. I'll be honest, that one's a little bit more of a feel. But honestly, a lot of times, those ones tend to be the ones that pan out for whatever reason, just because we're not overthinking this one too much. Khalil Shakir is his top target. I think he gets it done. Cortland Sutton, anytime touchdown versus the Cowboys. This Cowboys defense gets absolutely nuked by wide receivers, especially in this department. The 32nd DVP, Cortland Sutton's going to find his way in the end zone. I'm very confident in that. So, love our touchdown parlay, guys. Plus 21.40 odds on Fanatics with our profit boost. All right, that's going to do it for our picks. If you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button for me. Always appreciate that. We are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. Appreciate all of your guys' support. Check out our Sunday Night Football Best Bets video as well. That'll be out later tonight on Saturday night. As always, I appreciate you guys. Drop your favorite pick below. That will do it for me. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And we'll catch you guys all back here next time. Peace out.